So now we are following our program. Before starting the second session, we have a Q&A session, and participants are welcome to write their question in the chat. So we are looking at the chat. I have a question for Ilaria. Can you tell us, according to your experience, what are the most common mistakes that researchers make with grant agreements and how they can avoid them?
Many. No, jokes apart. One of the most common mistakes, I think, is that they not really read thoroughly the documents. Remember that the grant agreement will include clauses that you have to abide to, and the European Commission will call you upon those. I mean, these documents are key because they contain details about reporting obligations, eligible cost, IP rights, and if you overlook them, these can lead to serious compliance issues, penalties, and cost rejections. Another common mistake is perhaps misunderstanding budget restrictions. A lot of researchers will think that they can move freely, budget from cost categories or partners as they wish, whereas there are certain rules that they need to follow, some processes. First of all, inform the granting authority, and potentially the third common mistake is not meeting the deadlines, and not informing European Commission. I mean, European Commission, they understand that there might be some delays, but they get really, really annoyed and disappointed at you if you have not informed them. And this obviously, can jeopardize future funding. So I'd say that maybe the way the way researchers can avoid these mistakes. First of all, in the ideal world, you should read your grant agreement at least once. But if you can't, if you don't want to, I know that this is not what researchers want to do. Make sure that you meet with your grants office early on. You have a meeting with them so that your grants office can can provide you with an overview of the key important rules, and also they can provide you with advice throughout the project. Your grants office should be well aware of what is called annotated model grant agreement, which is, again, as I said, is a document including more than 400 pages. So whilst the researcher won't have the time to go through all the details, your grants office will certainly know all the rules inside out. Therefore, they are your best ally. Again, second, what is also important is to follow the European Commission webinars. I mean, even if you cannot attend them online, remember that you can watch the recording. They are extremely useful. And again, in 1 hour, you can learn a lot from the European Commission. And again, third, as I said, make sure that, I've said it many times, make sure that you engage with your project officer, inform them of any issues. The reason being that if there are any problems, or if you need to implement any changes to your work plan, the European Commission will be flexible, and they will help you and your partners to get the amendments needed. And finally, again, as I said, this is a people business. I've seen, unfortunately, a lot of coordinators who were not leaders. If you are a coordinator, you need to be able to lead and engage with your collaborators, your team members, if it's a monogrant, or your partners, and be mindful of again, cultural differences. So make sure that you are great not only in your research area, so you're not just great as a researcher, but also as person, as leader.
Thank you, Ilaria. Are there any other questions for Ilaria? Okay, so I have now a question for Paola. You have shown us all the challenges and the documents and the steps that a researcher has to follow. How can you suggest, according to your experience, how can they keep on track the projects and carry on their clinical or research activities, meeting also these milestone or deliverables or checkpoints that they have to?
That's a good question. It depends on most depends from your organization attitude. I think that every organization has different attitude toward research, especially for researcher working in hospitals. So dealing with the clinical activities together with during we know that research is always the work that they do during the evening, during the weekend, and during the free time. So it's something usually additional to the standard activities of MD or research. What I suggest is always to keep a good communication track with their organization, with the grant office, the administrative office. They have to share with them the procedures and the process of the project. And they also have to communicate a lot with the other partners. So despite the kickoff meeting that is for sure an important step for beginning to begin the project, I always suggest to have several meetings during the project lifetime, to meet the partner very often, to share with them the state of the project, to lead it, as Ilaria correct said. They should be a leader.
Okay, very good. So from the audience, are any questions for these first two speakers? No? So if not, I ask Per to introduce the next speaker.